See where? Para la tiene para comer. Ya, pues por eso no, ya pues ya vamos ya. Ando la candela pequeña para acá. Tiene todo blanco, no está ni por estar haciendo ver. Look at this. Olha man, sigo eu agora tô ficando sigo
So folks, welcome back. This is Liberian National Television. Councillor Arthur Johnson is part of the defense team. Councillor Arthur Johnson, Councillor Chineto Masakwe, Councillor Wiggins Wright, former Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia. Earlier on, like I told you, former House Speaker of Unatikofa, Dixon Sibo, Abu Kamara, Priscilla Cooper, Jacob Dibley, and other Arson attackers resumed this morning here at Criminal Court Temple of Justice in Monrovia. But from what we are getting is a defense counsel asked the presiding judge of Criminal Court at the Temple of Justice in Monrovia to postpone to the hearing on ground that he received prosecution evidence last night. This is Councillor Waputuke.
Making sure.
Councillor Waputuke. So, defense counsel requested that court grant a few days to peruse the evidence proffered by the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Justice. Based on that, the presiding judge of Criminal Court at the Temple of Justice granted that motion proffered by defense counsel headed by Councillor Arthur Johnson, who is the lead defense counsel representing former House Speaker Chineto Kofa, Dixon Sibo of District Number 16, Moseralo County, Abu Bana Kamara of District Number 15, Moseralo County.
No, you can't ask people you. My man, you. That you stay again for one sound.
So folks, we are still here awaiting the defendant who were brought to court this morning, and we've been informed that the case has been rescheduled. So we are ready for criminal. So we are posted right here, and we can hear from District Number 15 and District Number 16 representative coming out of Criminal Court at the Temple of Justice. Along with the supporter. I hear is Councillor Kofa, who is also coming out of at the Temple of Justice in a very serious mood. He appeared very serious. I'm yet to see So this is Representative Jacob TV, followed by Councillor Genito Massacre, one of the defense council. We are still awaiting orders. Still. So folks, this incident occurred on December 18, 2024 when Liberian woke up and saw the historic Capitol building in flames. And that situation happened at a time where there was a leadership struggle taking place at the Capitol building. So we're still here. We've been asked to move ahead a bit while the fence So folks, I've been informed to come ahead while the defense will be outside. But outside here, I'm still seeing and all of them saying, So folks, we are still here. Earlier on, we brought you the launch of credential to call it by Chief Justice Yami Kwakwek Bessie. Followed by that, we are also here to bring you Councillor Fonati Kofa, Dixie Sibo, Abu Kamara, Priscilla Cooper of District Number 5, Jacob TV also from Grand Judah County. Legal battle that is currently going on. A criminal code is here. Temple of Justice, where they were accused of their involvement during the attack that took place on December 18, 2024. Some individuals were arrested and brought to court, and the 5 lawmakers that I mentioned earlier were also accused. They earlier on went to the headquarters of the Liberia National Police. These are here.
Sir.
So folks, there you have it. The 6 defendants in the Capitol building Arson case just left the criminal court at the Temple of Justice earlier. We saw Councillor Jinidon Fonati Kofa, former House Speaker Dixon Sibo of District Number 16, Moserado County. Jacob TV also who here from the Grand Judah County representative. So this is a bus that is escorting the accused. They are currently on their way at the Monrovia Central Precinct. So folks, we like to say thank you so much for following national television. We are making our way upstairs. To see whether we can speak to those lawmakers, and we'll also speak to Kuya who are banned there. So this vehicle right here belongs to District Number 15 representative. One of the accused, Abu Kamara. The next belongs to Jacob TV of Grand Judah County. I'm yet to see district number 5 Representative Priscilla Cooper. Earlier on, we saw Councillor Fonati Cooper, the immediate former Speaker of the Honorable House of Representatives. And we will have all with Fabin Quia who have been input. They are looking for justice to bring the public up to speed regarding the unfolding that took place in Criminal Court A, Temple of Justice. So I'm seeing the district number 9 representative Francis Foko having interaction with the media.
Basically, today in court, we were able to meet at Criminal Court A, where Fonati Kofa and other defendants were brought to court for the indictment to be read. To be read to them in open court. But again, before the case could be called this morning, they had a submission to spread, which was done by the defense team. And they proffered 4 counts this morning in court on grounds. Now, one of the main reasons the petition was the discovery, which is the evidence, they received it last night, August 28th. At 7:30 p.m. and so they brought it back to court in boxes that were sealed up and weren't openly told. And so based on that, they said they never had sufficient time to actually go through that. And so they needed time to go through it. And so prosecution came with resistance based on defense counts that the government had said that was in good faith, and even challenged the defense team to show the portion of the law that says we should deliver discovery 5 days prior to the case. And so that was heard, and later on the judge ruled that indeed the defense team never had time to go through the discovery because they received it last night at 7:30 p.m. And so he postponed the case to September 2 at 9:45. And so this morning there was no indictment read to Cooper and others, and so probably we're going to see what's going to happen on September 2 when we come back to court for the case to resume. So my colleague Peter Tove, he's also here from Truth FM, and he will train us through a little bit what I said.
So Fabin Quia, I think what you just said is all in line with what happened in court today. And the judge did agree with the defense team argument that they pushed in terms of that they needed more time to peruse the evidence. I think you saw the evidence that came to court today. They were in a huge box, 2 plastic boxes that the prosecutions have submitted to the defense team, meaning that they have a sufficient evidence as they claim over and over to prove a prima facie case against former Speaker J. Fonati Kofa and 5 other lawmakers as along with others. And today we observe the other defendants, the 6 defendants who previously filed a motion to be admitted to bail. They were in court today. They were in the orange jacket. Probably you could ask the questions of why the other defendants, which is the the former speakers and the others of what not in Nigeria, remember that they are on a valid criminal appearance bond of personal recumbency that are looking at their positions in government, so they could not be in that unreached suit because they are on bail. And also too, I did observe the presence of one of the defendants in court, a district file representative that could claim your attention. She was not in court today. As to why, well, we do not know. But as Fabian and Eda said, the indictment was not read to them in court, meaning that they were not arranged in court to ascertain their plea to the indictment due to the application that they made in court that they needed time to peruse the evidence, and based on that, the judge granted the time. Because the issue of prosecutions is not to take someone as a surprise. Remember that evidence that they submitted, they also need to submit their witnesses, the one that they will need urgently. That also need to be given to the defense team, and the defense team will peruse that and see probably they could object to some of the evidence, and that also will be presented to the court. But just to inform the public on the meeting is that the justice who is currently presiding in Chimot, or under the Associate Justice Jinsata College, has issued a legal, cited both defense and prosecution team for a legal conference, and that conference is scheduled for tomorrow. But also what she did in connection to her citation that was issued yesterday, she did not place a stay order on the entire proceeding. So that means that the proceeding will continue while the legal conference is going on in Chimon tomorrow. And from that conference, we'll get to know as to whether she would issue the alternative rate of sexual warrant that was filed by the defense team, or she would decline to issue the rate. And this petition was filed by the defense team on ground that Judge Willie, the one Judge Willie, to recuse himself from the case because they feel that he is biased in this entire proceeding. So that legal conference is scheduled for tomorrow before the justice presided in Chimos for honor Associate Justice Jinsata College in the Supreme Court tomorrow. So we'll get to know as to how that proceeding. But all went on well. All the defendants were in court, with the exceptions of District 5 Representative Priscilla Cooper. She was not in court today when all the defendants came for the proceeding today here.
How was the former Speaker's physical appearance in court today?
Well, he arrived earlier before his colleagues, because I was outside and saw him passing just some minutes to 10 o'clock. He arrived earlier before his colleagues. And then usually when defendants are being brought to court, they are being escorted by the sheriff to sit in the sheriff's office until the case can commence. And so they sat there for a while. And later on, he was brought, ushered in criminal code A by the sheriff, and then placed in the dock. And then later on, they asked them out of the dock, and they sat outside the dock, and the other defendants from South Beach remained in the dock. But he didn't seem to be worried. At a point in time in court, while the argument was going on about the discovery of evidence, he sat more relaxed, and all he could do was to focus on the judge. But none of them looked so worried as compared to others that may think that they may be worried, because this is not the first time coming to court. And so they are prepared. But as my colleague said earlier, and I mentioned, we're going to see what's going to happen on Tuesday, because the contention they raised was that they couldn't have read anything in the night about that time, and the 5 days ultimatum was given. But even though there was an ultimatum given to the defense, to prosecution, to produce all the evidence on or before August 28th. And so yesterday was August 28th. They presented it. The defense said they received it at 7:30 p.m. But we're going to see what's going to happen next after the conference that will be held tomorrow with the justice in chambers, where defense team earlier prayed for a way of sexual warrant. But Aaron, as you may be aware, and our viewers and listeners, we are here, and this is the opening of circuit courts around here. There are so many cases. Like yesterday, we had a case of Bill Jala, the guy who allegedly stabbed his girlfriend to death on Tuko Road. He was brought to court yesterday, and the indictment was read when he pleaded guilty. in open court at criminal court B. And before then, the mother of the late princess was in court, and there was something shocking that she did yesterday in court. So when Bill Jala's children walked in and she pointed at him when he was sitting on the bench and said, "Hey, yes, a man that killed my daughter," showing it to his grandchildren, and the breast in tears, they couldn't hold it back. Even Bill started crying before he was escorted in the dark for the indictment to be read, where he pleaded guilty. So the case
was that a son of guilt from Bill Jala?
Besides it being a sign of guilt, I think it was a sign of regret. Because imagine the children in court and have somebody telling them, reminding them, your father killed my daughter. Yes, the man that killed my daughter. Yes, the killer. And his children actually serving in court yesterday. Even after the hearing, they all came out and they were serving yesterday. So the court will be busy, the criminal courts, we expect cases to pop up. And we promise to follow most of the cases that will be popping up here at the court, so that we report on the happenings here.
For me, from the initial stages of this case, I didn't see Councillor Arthur Johnson, but
He
today
has just joined the defense team to prop up the defense team. The case has just started, let's say, about to resume, because once the indictment is being read, then we know that case will be kicked off. And who knows, maybe from prosecution and defense, we'll have other people joining the team. Both teams have the right to prop up whoever who wants to come on the team. So Arthur Johnson recently joined the team of Tikufa and others.
Councillor Johnson in Liberia is known for his legal excellence. Joining the defense team, what do you think the public should expect from this case?
He represents a group of people, or probably he will be representing an individual there, because remember, they will always be able to defend for the clients. They will always be on the defensive for the client. So obviously from the defense team, we really don't expect too much negative things. And so they will proffer what they think the law says, and will do all they can to defend the clients in court. But all in all, we don't know as to whether this will be a jury or bench trial. Remember, I saw the jury, the head of jury management was in court, where we had jurors seated as usual on the left side. So we don't know as to whether this will be a jury trial or a bench trial.
Fabian, could you describe the scene from Criminal Court A today? Was it a packed court?
Yeah, Criminal Court A was jam-packed. A lot of people, prospective jurors were there, relatives, friends, onlookers and viewers were all in court. And so maybe Tuesday we're going to see more people appearing here to listen to that case.
Who are those lawyers that represent the government of Liberia?
We have the county attorney, Councillor Richard Scott, Councillor Kutu Akwe, Councillor Randolph Johnson. They all form part of Councillor Jerry Kalawo, they all form part of the prosecution team today in court.
I did not see the Solicitor General, who is the lead lawyer when it comes to this prosecution.
Yeah, he wasn't present in court. Probably,
no, he was not present in court. Probably maybe he had some other
important
engagement, so we could not be equal today. But they had a strike team, and even we had the director for Fernando Cram and one Arson, he was also a part of the defense. You know, the prosecution is using all prosecuting lawyers in these matters, because most of the time when they give the representation, they name those who are in court and then say including all prosecuting lawyers. But one thing that I observed too, the defense team have beefed on the legal team. You know, they have brought in Councillor Arthur Johnson, they have
Councillor Wiggins Wright,
and others. So I mean, both legal teams is not taking this case lightly, because people repetition is at stake, the government repetition is at stake. Because to indict a former speaker and other lawmakers, it tell you that they believe that they have a strong and convincing evidence to implicate them into the crime. So we'll wait and see. Probably if the indictment is read to them, we don't know whether they will ask for a bench trial or a jury trial. A bench trial could be you will have the judge hearing the entire proceedings and then making decisions. A jury trial will have about 15 panel persons, but only 2 persons will be there to listen to the case attentively and then make a sound decisions in that matter. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be a crack trial. But let's wait and see. I mean, after reviewing the evidence, and, you know, as we regularly say, probably they could come with some motion up to dismiss some of the evidence or to suppress some of the evidence, because definitely, Aaron, I believe that going to look at the evidence, they definitely have to have qualm with some. Probably maybe that could be some delay tactics, but that is all in the proceedings. So we'll wait and see. Remember now, they are seeking for the judge accuser, and that legal conference will be held tomorrow before the presiding justice, who is now in Chimo, Associate Justice.
Great. Mr. Tobit, two quick questions before we take leave. We still have the Samuel Tour and other economic sabotage case at criminal court C. Do you have any status, or are you aware that when that particular case will also be started?
Well, that case is currently before the Supreme Court full bench. As you may be aware that when the retired Chief Justice, but then Chief Justice at the time, the petitions were filed by the defense team led by Councilor Arthur Johnson on ground that his client actions was strictly in security matters, and he was under the directive of the President and former President George Weah. So based on that petition that they filed before the justice was presiding in Chimo at the time, Associate Justice is honored Senator Clinton Johnson sought legal reason in the petition for prohibitions that they filed against the judge, against the judge at the time.
Yes, Blamo Dixon.
Not Blamo Dixon. Blamo Dixon was removed from the trial because the prosecution's claim that he was conflicted. He made statements that would damage the chances in the case.
Okay.
So he was taken upstairs before the justice who were presiding in Chimo. At that time, it was then the now Chief Justice, Yamin Wesis, who was in Chimo at the time, and he saw some reasons in the prosecution's application that they filed. So based on that, Blamo Dixon left the case, and then the retired Chief Justice, who was then Chief Justice Xialen Liu, replacing with Judge Christopher Willie to handle that matters. And while he was there, the same Willie now was handling this Arson case, they filed a petition against him. They filed a petition in connection to that case that what the clients were indicted for was not proof. Was wrong on ground that the action they took was truly a national security matter, and it was instructed by the President to use that amount for national security. So they can have the questions, and they are protected under the Constitution. So it was based on that they went out, and when they went out, that matter was heard by the justice. The justice was presiding in Chimo, Senator Clinton Johnson, where she issued the alternative writ of prohibition, and that matter was forwarded to the full bench. So the full bench is the one that had time to a case. So we wait and see as to the petition that was filed by the defense team held by Councilor Arthur Johnson. When that matter is called for hearing, where they will hold an argument to convince the bench as to the petitions that they filed is legally genuine, that the client is protected under the constitutions, that they cannot be prosecuted because the amount they use, which is over 6 billion, I think 6 billion $6 billion, with 6 billion as to it would be for national security purposes. So wait and see. That matters before the Supreme Court in connection to your questions, Aaron.
Great. One question for you and one for Fabian. Today, the new Chief Justice launched credential audit in the banquet hall just a few minutes ago. You are a veteran judicial reporter who have been here for decades now. What's your take about that launch today?
Well, you listen to him, and I think you carry that live. He said that the perceptions of the people out there in the judiciary were corrupt, and they have been termed in the area that where judges are even delivering the charges, the justices are speaking so opening of court. They even complain about clerical staff, that they observe that some was hampering with people's cases, and that should not be. And that is why they're now trying to go through these mentors, because it's a continuation of the rebranding process of Chief Justice now, the predecessors' actions that were taken to rebrand the judiciary, to move out people that who they feel that were not competent for certain positions. So I think it's in good faith. You were there, you saw how he set an example on the set, even though he's a presidential appointee with green letter, but you saw he take upon himself to take upon himself to present his credentials. I don't think most of the judges, who they are on par also. I saw
Judge Blamo Dixon with his father.
Exactly, so he was there. Yes. Well, I don't really think it's mandatory for them.
Okay.
But for transparency, you can go. This is what the Chief Justice said, that if you have anything on my judges, consult me before taking action. But as to the other employee, because the CSA was clear that what they would do if at all they have some discrepancy on you in terms of the credentials, they black your account. So if you have any qualm, then you will go there to them, then they'll be able to explain to you. But after the judges, we found out the chief justice came back to make statement. He said, if you have any qualm against some of my judges, you should consult me before any actions. Yes, because they all were appointed by the president, they all their green letter, and they were streamlined by the Senate.
Yes.
And the Senate went through their credentials, so they showed that they have the requisite credentials. But some of them just want to come to the process to show more, because the chief justice came up with the policy statement.
Thank you, well, Mr. Tobe. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. With pleasure.
Okay, thanks a lot. And so we will ask. So, folks, we would love to say thank you so much for following Liberia National Television. We have been here in conversation with State Radio judicial reporter Virgin Fabian Kuya, along with Mr. Peter Tobe, also a veteran judicial reporter who have been here for decades now, giving their own perspective of the ongoing case of the Arson attack that took place on December 18, 2024 there at the Capitol building, and also requesting regarding the launch of the credential audit by Chief Justice Yami Kwakwe. So folks, we love to say thank you so much for following Liberia National Television. On the September 2, which is next Tuesday, we will be here to bring you live happening when the indictment against Councillor Funati Kofa and other shall have been read in open court. Thank you so much for following. I've been here, Iram Talu, bringing you this live happening.